Great question. Firstly, thank you for having me. I think we're at the very tip of the iceberg when it comes to embedded finance. I think the next 5 years will see huge change in terms of acceptance within the industry. In terms of impact across the board, I think you will see traditional financial institutions either come to play in that space because of the synergies between both ourselves and the other banks, for example, within the ecosystem. Those that don't kind of make it there from a technology standpoint, I believe will get left behind. And I think we're going to see a transition of what embedded means, not just to banks, but actually to the wider ecosystem. So any businesses that effectively have any payments touch points will definitely see the need for embedded finance. Again, another great question. So I think let's start with the consumer. Really what it does within a brand that they trust and believe in, it enhances the product offering. A great example is the football space. So where you would already be backing your football club, you are now getting offered a payment solution which looks and feels like your club. And I think that's the key element. And when you couple that with loyalty, it really enhances the offering. So it brings you closer in to an ecosystem that you already know and love effectively. And I think that's key, having that brand recognition or brand value existing and enhancing that. I think that's the absolute key. Continue on from a business standpoint, it's really, again, enhancing the product offering. So what you now have, again, if we go back to football clubs, which is a clear target for us, you're now enhancing that solution, but what you're getting is data touch points. A really good example, if I'm at a club, for example, and I've gone to the merchandise shopping and I've bought myself a shirt, now I'm known to the club, but if I've now bought a shirt for my son and my daughter, they will now also recognize that, look, within this, there's a family of 3, therefore the notifications that will come through to me will be very targeted. It means that the club can also start planning ahead in terms of bringing in the next cohort of fans, ensuring they've got continuation. But I think the big driver is data. So that's, again, a really great example. I think the second is essentially enhancing the payments ecosystem. So where banking would have been seen as a cost, it is now potentially a revenue generator, and they're able to then take this cost and potentially mark it up downstream to their client base. There's operational efficiencies. If you can read and understand the transaction patterns of your client base, you're able to plan effectively around operations, around hires. So I think there's a plethora of benefits, but I think the key is underpinned by really driving the existing reputation or the existing solution and enhancing it that one step further. Sure. I think in a word, it's legacy technology. That's essentially, if you look at the traditional incumbents within the space, they've kind of built on top of their existing tech. Now, what embedded payments is doing, or embedded finance is doing, is really streamlining that opportunity and really driving it through tech. So I think the challenge is for anyone traditionally in the space to really absorb that new technology. Something that we've done in-house to really streamline that, for example, is we were driven by API solutions originally. We're now moving to SDKs. So we take our onboarding journey, our payments journey, our strong customer authentication journey, create those into buckets effectively, which can be absorbed by the app of our client. And now all they're worrying about is how that looks on the front end, which means the consumer journey is not disrupted. And actually, again, we're going back to that word, it enhances the opportunity. So we take a very consultative approach when it comes to our clients. The main reason for that is for us to understand their ecosystem, but also for them to understand what they potentially could be leaving on the table if they don't have the full knowledge of that space. So while our sales cycle is effectively a little bit longer, what we do is create a trust. We don't necessarily force that sale down to them. What they realize is being best in class in terms of the support you're giving them really allows them to understand and really optimize their solution. And I think that's ultimately the key. So we have a very baseline solution where we don't go too bespoke. But what we do very, very well is that last mile journey. So that bit where it's very nuanced or very particular to our client, we can work with them to really make that enhance and streamline and really be about them.